got them, then they're gonna beat you up again. So they're gonna start taking your cash. So you have to control your expectations of the investor that has the cash. You have to control that, not them. They can't dictate to you. You got the deal. You got the fish on that hook. You can take that fish. That's where, like he was saying, if you got your cash buyers, if you don't want it, you go to her. If you don't like his terms, you keep moving. But you got to have at least 5 or 6 solid cash buyers. And so what I do is, I was wholesaling a deal. I told him to put up a $5,000 earnest money deposit right here in Capitol Heights. So all these wholesalers start calling me. They're like, man, you asking me a $5,000 EMD? I'm like, yeah. They're like, I never heard of that. You should give $100, $200. You're the wrong guy. Click. You're the wrong guy. I hang up on him. Because you ain't got the money, you're not gonna tie up my deal. Right? Why you gonna tie so you can tie my deal so you can try to daisy chain it and sell it so you can make money off my deal? I'm not gonna do that. Either you got the money or you don't. Try to deal direct without daisy chaining. Daisy chaining could blow up the deal and will cost you money. Okay? And it's happened to me before. Everything I'm saying is through experience. I'm not reading a book. These are things that I actually gone through. I've had a situation where I thought the actual buyer was the buyer. So I stopped marketing the property. I gave the property to him. 2 or 3 days go by. I'm like, yo, I need that bank statement. I need proof of funds. Then they dodge it. They're dancing around. 2 or 3 days go by. I'm like, I gotta keep moving. He wasting my time. Okay? So anyway, that deal ended up blowing up because I had the contract for 30 days and I ran out of time because I was dealing with the wrong person. That has happened to you? Through a daisy chain. So tell me about that. And it's your property. Hey, that's real. That's real. I don't know him, I just met him. That's real. That happens so much, okay? The key is get to know your database. Have good, clean, healthy people in your database, okay? That's why I say you get business cards, having a virtual assistant entering that into a database, and you're marketing to them, and you're talking to them, and you're engaging with them, you can figure out who's real and who's not. The key is to have real people that could execute. It's all about relationships, right? All right, so what we're gonna talk about here is assessment value. Okay, you guys, when you look at properties and you're doing the assessment value of the property, what are some of the things you guys are looking at before you determine that you're going to put a contract on this asset? Like, what are some of the things you look at? The comps in the neighborhood. Okay. What do you look at the house? Square footage. Anybody else? What'd you say? Bedrooms. Anybody else?
Foundation.
What'd you say?
Foundation.
Foundation. Potential of the neighborhood, is it declining, is it inclining? What's going on in the neighborhood? Okay. Anybody else?
That's the
Robert?
I go to the office of planning to see what developments are coming to the area because I like to do sort of moderate term.
Exactly. Exactly.
Appreciation.
Exactly. So all these things are good. All these things are great. So here's what I do. Okay? Again, I'm going to talk about what I do so you can hopefully learn from some of these things. So I'm a general contractor, okay? I'm a home builder, I'm an inspector. So what I do is I inspect all the stuff that's gonna cost me money. HVAC, $6,000, $8,000. Windows, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. The roof, $6,000, $7,000. Anything that's a big ticket item. Plumbing. Look at the sewer line. How do you test the underground sewer line that goes from the house to the street? Because you know, if that's clogged or cracked, how much it costs? If you got roots. A lot of these houses in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area are old. 100 years old, 80 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. So cast iron pipes, what was used as the primary source for your drain pipes and your plumbing and everything. Everything expires. Everything breaks eventually. Okay? So to test that, what I do is if the water's on the house, I turn all the faucets on, turn all the shower heads on. I turn every water source on at the same time. I let it run for 5-6 minutes. And then I start flushing the toilets. If things are starting to bubble back up and things are coming back in, you got a problem. That's a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 problem, depends where it is. Okay? So the deal may sound sweet, yeah, you're getting it for $100,000, but that's a $30,000 repair, $20,000 repair. So you have to assess the properties methodically. You got to look at every aspect of things that's going to cost. The way I do windows, $300 a window. 10 windows, that's $3,000. Okay? Water heater, $1,000. Kitchen, $10,000. Bathroom, $5,000. So I can run through a house, be like, oh, I'm going to put $45,000 in this house. Because I know where I'm going to put my money at. And say, okay, well, this lady's selling it for, okay, so I just got a house yesterday in Glen Burnie. Lady called me eventually, finally. Been after her for like 3 months. She finally called. So it's got a pool in the back. It's in Glen Burnie. So what I did is I called a bunch of pool experts. Say, hey, come out here, tell me what you think could be done with that. Should we fill it up? Should we bury it? You know what I mean? What do we do with that? So that's a big cost to get rid of a pool or to make it operable, right? So I had to take that into consideration with my acquisition cost, right? So these are the things that will come up, but this deal made sense because what I'm going to do with that pool is I'm going to bury it. I'm going to bring in 128 yards of dirt. I'm going to bury it, throw some grass seeds on it, let the kids play on it. Bury it. That's the best and easiest solution. Okay? So you're going to have different things like that. So when you're assessing properties, be methodical, take your time, look at the plumbing, look at the electrical. Electrical panel, if it's 100 amp, you got to replace it most likely, unless they got a sub panel. So what pulls current in the house? What pulls current? You got your furnace that pulls current, right? Your lighting that pulls current, your water heaters pull current, your stove pulls current, right? Back in the day, when they built these houses, we didn't have 5, 6 TVs. We didn't have all this stuff, right? Now people got multiple stuff, and they got plugged into all kinds of surge protectors and shit. You know, it don't work. You have to upgrade, and that's a $2,500 job to upgrade an electrical panel. Well, the wiring, the outside wire, if that got to be replaced, that's usually like another $600, $700. The outside wire that goes to the street. Oh no, that's not like putting new lights and outlets. No, that's separate. Yeah. So, and I look at the foundation, and I have a tester that I use to put against the baseboard to see how much water is behind the house in the basement. Because basements, you're gonna get mildew, right? You get smell. So I have a tester you put up against the wall of the corners of the foundation, and if it goes too high, then I know there's too much water behind that wall there. okay? So you gotta keep in mind, in this area, go back to 1900, a lot of these homes are built on a lot of water, okay? There's a lot of water under this earth, okay? And if these homes are 70, 80 years old, believe me, you're gonna eventually have issues, because water will always find, always, right? Just like Noah's Ark, that's God's weapon, right? All right, so how to do real estate financial investment analysis. Again, square footage, comps, CMAs, look at the neighborhood, look at MRIS. Zillow and Trulio, as you guys know, they're merging, right? Zillow bought Trulio. So now Zillow's, I think MRIS is suing Zillow or something because they're trying to open up the code, right, to the Zillow and everything like that. So we'll see what happens there. But if that happens, that's going to eliminate a lot of real estate agents. Okay? It's going to eliminate a lot of real estate agents. One of the things, I have a real estate brokerage. The thing about a real estate brokerage, they're going out of business. Why? Go back 20 years. If you traveled somewhere, you went travel anywhere, you had to call a travel agent. Right? Hey, yo, I need to take us to Egypt, whatever. Hotels and all that. Today, with Priceline and Expedia, Travel Varsity, all these, you don't need a travel agent. You make your own plans, right? And then now, if you look at real estate, most mom and dads that are looking to buy, they do their own analysis. They drive the neighborhood. They drive at nighttime. They drive on weekends. They look at the crime. They look at the noise. They look at the traffic. Most buyers have control today. They could go on Google and Zillow and get an idea. Is this neighborhood declining? Is it inclining? How's the crime? Is it red? Like on Trulia, there's a tool. If it's red, that means there's high crime. If it's green, it's a good neighborhood. So these tools are available on Trulio and Zillow. You just got to use them. Okay? So that's one of the things I look at. But also, like Robert said, you want to look at what the government is doing. Is there a new metro station coming? Is there a Whole Foods? Is there Heritage? What's coming into the neighborhood that's going to allow the appreciation to happen? Like New Carrollton. New Carrollton has a massive project coming down there at the New Carrollton metro station. You guys aware of that?
Yep.
You aware of it? What do you know about it?
I read all the time, especially on the projects that's relevant in this area. Newspaper, internet.
Right.
It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. Nothing I'm saying is a secret, man. It's free stuff. You just got to apply yourself. So Prince George's Community Master Plan, you guys can Google this. The master plan is 2035. So the purple line is coming here. What does transportation do? It creates movement. What does movement do? It creates spending, right? Economic growth. So you guys want to be in these particular areas, find out where they are. It's all free. It's on the government websites. Position yourself. So how to find it? Once you get the deal, the bank will give you the money. People will give, I'll give you money. I do hard money lending. I do hard money lending. So I deal with hedge funds out of California. So if the deal makes sense, I know how to qualify the deal. I know if it's a BS deal, if it's a real deal. If it makes sense, I'll give you the money. You got the money. You just got to find the deal. Look at the neighborhoods. Okay? Investment analysis, time value of money. How long is it going to take me to get a yield on my money? Is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be 3 years? It's going to be 6 months. You got to look at all these things. Because nobody wants to get the money tied into a deal for like 12 months. Get in, get out. The movement of money is what makes money. Any questions? You guys can ask questions if you have questions. Anytime. Okay, so finding the funds for your deals, we talked about that. There's I could give you a source of like 20 different hard money lenders. I can give you a source like AAPL, American Association of private lenders. They're in Kansas City. So I was at their conference last year, okay? If you go to their website, you could download, this is a free tool, you could download all the hard money lenders in this area. All the hard money lenders in this area. And in all their members, California and everything like that. So the money is there, you just gotta get the deal. All right, negotiate and close the deal. What that means is, look, real estate is all about negotiations. Life is about negotiations, right? So my wife is like, all right, you make the bed, I'll make you coffee. All right, okay. It's all negotiation, every day it's negotiation, something. It's not always numbers or deals, but you're always negotiating. So if you get a property under contract and you did a rehab and you're selling it, most buyers are gonna ask you to say, hey, give me help, $5,000 help, $10,000 help towards my closing costs. You don't have to do it. That's what they're asking for. Say, okay, I'll give you this, but you gotta give me this. I'll give you this, so if I give you something, you're gonna give me something back. I'm not gonna keep giving and giving and giving. It ain't gonna happen like that. I'll give you this, so you always ask for something back. And the thing is about closing the deal, if you got enough meat on the bone and there's numbers, close that deal. Get your money, go to the next deal. Don't get stuck in the deal. The movement of money is what's gonna create money. You do 5, 10 of these things, don't get stuck on a deal, so what? You're giving up 10,000, but you're still making 20. Go to the next deal. Keep moving. You gotta close the deals. I learned about the paperwork. Okay, so most of you guys don't need to know all of this stuff. You just gotta have the right people that know this stuff. I don't expect you guys to know all of this. You gotta have the right team, you gotta have real estate agents. If you got the right real estate agent, they know how to do the paperwork. Okay, you gotta have the right people. You just gotta know what you want. If you're very clear what you want and what you need, and you got the right resources, it's all about delegating. It's delegation that, as an entrepreneur and a CEO, Bill Gates, all these massive people, they delegate, they have a team, and they have accountability, and they have measurables. They see who did the work and who didn't, and they hold people accountable, they fire people. Okay? So you got, again, you don't need to know everything. Just gotta have the right people and the right team. All right, understand lease op terms, the impact of transaction due diligence. So basically what that means, like, okay, so we bought some notes in Florida. We bought non-performing notes in Florida. So the first thing we do is when we buy non-performing notes from hedge funds and banks, we look at, we do our due diligence on it. We determine, is it vacant? Is it occupied? Are the homeowners still living there? Did they move? Did they abandon the property? And you guys listen, you can buy real estate in other states. You don't have to be stuck right here in DC, Maryland, Virginia, okay? And there's ways to do that, and I can show you that. So with this particular asset in Florida, we went through a due diligence. We got the agent from RE/MAX, had them go out and do a BPO, and then we do what they call, it's an AV report. So that means we get 3 BPOs from 3 different sources. So the RE/MAX guy, then the Coldwell Banker guy, another. That way 3 different people look at it. So now we have more data to analyze. He may do one, but he may miss something, and you do it, and I see it on your report. So we try to, because when you're looking at these assets that are out of states and stuff like that, you're doing due diligence, you want to have as much data as possible so you can, because everything's a risk. There's no guarantees. Everything's a risk. I could go out and get hit by a car now. There's no guarantees. You just got to take advantage of what you have, right? So analyze the data and understand your due diligence process. Again, use the sources, create a team, and get the education. Once you get the education and you understand the education, you go through the process, it'll become real. It'll start to sink in. Because I'm sure you guys have been to like 10, 20 of these events in the area. The difference that I like about Ronaldo's education from like Sherman and Kenneth Gill and Charles and all these different people, this is based on college course curriculum. It is structured. There's a framework. There's accountability. There's testing. You cannot go to the next module until you pass 101. And it's very controlled. And it's less money than what those guys are charging. They're charging $3,000, $4,000, $1,500. Then I taught with them. I know all these guys right here. So this is a totally different type of education. All right, so how to do rehabs. So most people in here have an idea. They have a good idea about doing a rehab. Right? Anybody don't know anything about rehab at all? Rehab? Anybody did rehab in here? So the key to rehab is having a good team, good contractors, having the money, and then staying on top of your job and having some sort of process and tools to make sure you manage your timelines. So if the windows are supposed to be delivered on April the 20th, you make sure the windows are delivered April the 20th. Okay? If the staging company is supposed to come on April the 13th, you make sure that happens. So you can just manage the job from an overview by having the right people in place. Okay? So what I do when I do a rehab, I don't give my job to one general contractor. I separate everything. So if you're the electrician, you're gonna work on electrical work. If you're the plumber, you're gonna work on plumbing. You're gonna work on HVAC, roofing, drywall. That way, you do your job, you get out, you get paid. You get out, the job's moving around. And what I found in experience, I've given jobs to one guy, oh, hell no. It will go over, it will run over, he will go out to get amigos from Home Depot and put them to work. I'm like, hey, he ain't a carpenter. He using my tools and drop them off at Home Depot. You cannot, you gotta have specialists. And it will cost you money when you become, cheap. Or when you just look at price rather than value. You have to look at value rather than price. Okay, I asked the contractors to show me their license, current insurance. Okay, then I don't pay them everything up front. I buy the materials because I know what I need to buy, right? And get the materials there. They do the labor work. They get paid when it's done. Now, what I do with my electricians and plumbers, you're gonna have a final inspection when the buyer buys the house and they do a final inspection. So they go around, let's say some of the outlets are loose, the ground wire's loose, or the plumbing is something wrong. I tell them to come back and fix it. Because they did the work. So if the inspector finds like 10 things wrong with the house, then they have to come back and fix it to get their final payment. So you have to control the situation and not allow them to control you. And believe me, there's a lot of contractors out here. Okay, there's a lot of them. But the key is to find the right one by making sure they're licensed, they're ethical, they have a business, looking them up. Look at the court records. Go to Prince George's Community Court records, see how many times they've been sued. Right? Check them out. Do your due diligence. Not gonna just give people money. Now check them out. Look at the Maryland DIL website. See if they've had any complaints against their license. If they've ever been fired or sued, different things like that. So you want to deal with good professionals. Yeah, it's going to cost you money, but it's going to save you money because it's the time value of money is what matters. How fast can I get my money back? Right? Use the wrong contract, it's going to take you maybe extra 30 days. And if you're using hard money, and if you're running out of your hard money time, now the hard money after you talking about, I want the house. Now you're going to lose the whole thing by dealing with wrong contractors. Well, what I'll do is I'll have an open house. So you do an open house Tuesday from 10 to 2, and you invite the contractors out. So I can have the electricians come, and I can have the plumbers come, and I'll get 2 or 3 different bids and find out, well, are you working on the jobs? When can you start? Where's your license? And I'll tell them to add. Bring your license, bring this, bring that. All right, so, and then like I said, we provide money, so we charge 1% a month and 4 points is what we charge. And it's 12 months. So you got 12 months to get the deal done and to get it sold, and it's 1% a month. So what that means, if you get the house done in 4 months, you pay 4% and 4 points, which is cheap. It's cheap. If you get it done in 12 months, then you'll pay 12% and 4 points. So it's up to you. If you have the right team, you got the right process, you could get these houses done in 2 months, 3 months. Believe me, I've done it. So it's having the right people and the right team, and then moving the money. For points, it's like, so if you get a $100,000 loan, so it's 4 points of $4,000, so 1 point of 1%. Percent.
No, it said 1% and 4.
The points also are 1%. So
Oh.
there's 2 ways.
Okay.
And
Okay, got it.
Yeah. All right, so, what will you learn? We talked about hiring contractors and managers. The 5 common mistakes in property analysis is people don't, number one mistake is people don't take the time to do the property analysis. Sometimes I go back 2 or 3 times because wait a minute, I forgot to look at this. Because you're talking about real money. You're talking about real money. And if your numbers are off 10, 15,000, that could blow the whole deal. Okay, so you have to invest time in looking at these things. And then I invite other people because I don't know everything. So I tell other people, like I have another inspector friend of mine, Joe, he tears things apart. I said, Joe, go look at that property for me. Then I get his perspective on it, then I go look at it. So you gotta get a couple eyes on it sometimes. Yeah, it may cost you money, but the thing is, Joe may catch something that I didn't catch, and it could be a $3,000 mistake. So you gotta get a couple eyes on the property. If you got friends, and sometimes I take my wife, I say, hey, listen, if I knock this wall down, and I move the stove on this side because the window's here, so you think about designs and ideas of the house, right? You gotta take that into your demolition cost and hauling and trash and all that. But also restructuring the house. Because sometimes you got windows, and you got this wall in the middle, so natural light is important. Right? So sometimes I go there like 6, 7 in the morning to see which side the sun's coming up. Just to see how the light's gonna come in, because lighting is very important. And then also apartment buildings, self-storage, commercial shopping centers, non-performing mortgage notes, how to get with asset managers and banks. This is more advanced stuff. It's possible all you guys could do it. I can show you how to do it. It ain't that hard. I can show you how to do it. I mean, I'm doing it. And I was where you was where like 5 years ago, I didn't know that. I didn't know all of this stuff. But until I started networking and meeting people, talking to them and doing things, I made mistakes. I lost money. I made money, but I also lost a lot of money too. But you gotta do it. It's the experience that makes you as an expert. So in the Renault, this bigger package, they'll talk about all these different things in here in terms of how to get into the larger $25, $10 million type transactions and that kind of stuff. How many guys interested in learning about that? I know he is, but anybody else? Apartment buildings, commercial, self-storage. I'm gonna tell you, self-storage, man, you can make a lot of money with self-storage. Think about it. You got a big old building, okay? And some of them are like air conditioning controlled, climate controlled. People coming in, going out, you charge, and then if they don't pay their money, what happens? You take their stuff. I've built 2 self-storage buildings. So believe me, it don't cost that much to build them, and you could have this sucker 10, 15 years. It's land. It's an asset. It's going to appreciate. Okay? And you have no tenants. You ain't got toilets and all that stuff. You're just getting money. So, and you notice in PG, I think right down 301, there's 2 major self-storage buildings went up. People got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff, man. And they don't want to get rid of it. So when I got married, I'll give you a little story. I was living in DC. I had my condo, had it banging, I was hooked up. So my wife had her place, she had her stuff. So she was like, all right, well, we just get rid of all your stuff. I'm like, what? Hold up. So I put my stuff in a storage facility. So I moved everything to the storage facility. I said, nah, it ain't gonna happen.